Let's do a honest comparison between Canada and the UK. Please note that the data I'm about to provide is just the national average. It may vary per city. I'm not going to be telling you which country is better, and I'm certainly not in the position to tell you which country you should relocate to. Now, let's begin. Number one, economic stability and GDP. Canada is more of a resource-based economy with an annual GDP of about $2.14 trillion, while the UK is more of a service-based economy with an annual GDP of about $3.07 trillion. Canada is currently recognized as one of the highest and fastest growing economies in the world, but the UK boasts of a more robust and long-term economic growth. Canada has a higher cost of living for an average of about $4,800 for a family of 4 per month, excluding rent, while the UK averages about $3,000 for a family of 4 on average, excluding rent. Canada is higher in terms of national average salary, with an average salary of about $59,000 per year, while the UK is about $49,000 per year. In terms of national minimum wage, UK has a higher average national minimum wage of about $13.11, while Canada is about $11.32 per hour. In terms of ease with getting jobs, Canada currently has a higher unemployment rate of about 6.2%, while the UK has an unemployment rate of about 4.2%. While Canada boasts of higher paying jobs, it is actually easier in the UK for an average immigrant to gain access to employment. In terms of healthcare, Canada has a universal healthcare system that is free for its citizens, permanent residents, work permit holders, international students in certain provinces, including refugees and refugee claimants. In Canada, visitors are not eligible for free healthcare. In the UK, the same policy applies. The NHS is basically accessible to citizens and all legal residents. However, visitors are not eligible for free healthcare. In terms of work-life balance, Canada has a national average work week of about 35 hours, while the UK has a national average work week of about 40 hours. However, in terms of annual paid vacation, Canada boasts of an average of about 2 weeks or 10 days paid vacation, while the UK on average boasts of about 28 days of annual paid vacation. In terms of immigration, Canada's pathway to citizenship is faster and more reliable. If you arrive in Canada as a permanent resident, after 3 years you are eligible to apply for citizenship, and your citizenship fee is about $490. And there's also a more reliable pathway for international students to become permanent residents. However, in the UK, the pathway to citizenship is more rigorous, usually taking about 7 to 12 years, and the citizenship application fee can cost up to $2,000. Any child born in Canada automatically becomes a Canadian citizen, irrespective of the immigration status of the parents. However, in the UK, your child can only become a citizen if one of the parents is either a citizen or permanent resident. If that situation does not apply to you, your child born in the UK can only become a citizen after the first 10 years of their lives. In terms of overall well-being of its citizens, Canada ranks higher than the UK with about 7.1 out of 10, while the UK is about 6.7 out of 10. Making Canada the 15th best country in the world in terms of overall well-being, while the UK is about 20th on the list. In terms of crime rate, Canada's crime rate is slightly higher than that of the UK with about 47.6, while the UK is about 46.8, according to the crime index. In terms of cleanliness, sereneness of the environment, and air quality index, Canada leads the UK in that regard, having more vast, clean, urban and suburban areas as opposed to the UK, which is more dense. In fact, in the UK, a lot of respiratory illnesses and deaths are often linked to the poor air quality in some of the cities. In terms of transportation, the UK boasts of more robust transportation systems, especially in cities such as London and many others. However, in Canada, transportation is usually good in the major cities, but when it comes to intercity travel, it is very, very difficult. Most of the suburban cities do not have any city transportation system, and they mostly rely on surface transport, which means if you are living in those areas, you literally need to have your own vehicle. In fact, even Ottawa, the capital city of Canada, does not have an underground subway system. In terms of tax rate, Canada's taxes are higher than that of the UK, especially for personal income tax. In terms of maternity leave, in Canada, you get up to 52 weeks of paid maternity leave, and it can even be longer if you reduce your monthly average payment from the government. However, in the UK, you only have about 39 weeks of paid maternity leave. If you lose your job in Canada, you are eligible for employment insurance, which is payment from the government until you get your next job. And you are eligible if you have worked up to 600 hours within the last 52 weeks. And in the UK, you also have a form of employment insurance, which is called job seeker allowance. It is basically temporary and it covers you until you get your next job. And finally, in terms of affordable housing, getting a house in Canada is more expensive. You'll be spending up to about $500,000 on average to get a home. However, in the UK, it costs you an average of about $378,000 to get a house. Also, the houses in Canada are bigger and more spacious than in the UK. Do you find the comparison interesting, and is there any area that I don't mention? Let's discuss in the comment section.